All right, well, welcome everybody. I'm excited to be interviewing Phil Ebiner, one of the top Udemy instructors, and I had the privilege of being able to hang out with him the other day at Panera. It just so happens he moved literally like 10 minutes away from where I live, so we're going to be hanging out, getting together, and talking Udemy and other stuff quite often, I think. So,
Yeah.
welcome, Phil.
Thanks, Dave, for having me. I'm excited about my first ever blab.
Your first blab. You're going to be blabbing
Yeah.
like crazy. I'm excited about this platform because it's a great marketing platform. You have an instant audience. People tune in, even people tune in randomly, like you would, on a TV show or whatever.
Yeah,
So that's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm excited to have you on, Phil, because you have a bunch of courses, and you're making really good money on Udemy. And I don't know to what extent you want to get into detail on that, but I think you said you had 39 courses.
Yeah, I'm just launching my 40th course today, or this
Awesome.
week, and I'm putting it through the approval process, and then I'll launch it and promote it next week. But yeah, 40 courses. I've been on Udemy since October 2012. That was like my very first course. And I've just been putting out more and more courses since then.
That is awesome. So what are your courses generally on?
So I studied, and I've been working as a video editor, video creator. So I went to college, studied film and television production at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles.
Right.
And since I went to school there, graduated in 2011, I have just been working at different production companies. I've held a few different full-time jobs, and throughout that time, I've been creating these courses. And finally, in May of this year, I left my full-time job for good for now to do online teaching full-time. And all my courses started out being more related to video creation, so like teaching tools to video edit with, like Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere Pro,
Okay.
Motion graphics with After Effects. And then I kind of branched out into more other creative fields that I'm interested in, like photography and design. And then as I started doing this whole online business thing, I've done some like online business courses on how to teach online, how to put out Amazon Kindle books, and my latest course is a little course about how to get your first 1,000 email subscribers. So that's the one I'm putting out next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's ironic. I just put an email course up on Udemy too, email and list building.
Oh, nice.
So
we're on the same wavelength.
So that's awesome. Well, in that process, how do you come up with the ideas of what you're going to teach? For those that don't know, I mean, Phil just kind of slipped this in, but he just graduated school. When did you graduate college?
2011.
2011, graduated from
Loyola Marymount. Yeah.
Okay. So that means you're about how old?
25.
25. Okay. So that should be pretty mind-boggling to a lot of people out there. You're a really young guy, and yet you're working on your 40th course on Udemy. You know, and not to say that you got to be old to have a lot of courses, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of cool to see that you're getting after it and you're getting things going. So how do you come up with topics for your courses?
Yeah, well, first, one thing about creating so many courses, I can definitely say being a video creator myself, knowing how to do video editing, knowing how to set up a camera has given me a step up in creating courses. And so I already knew how to do all that stuff. And I think that's a huge hurdle for a lot of new instructors. So I hope people don't get discouraged or feeling like, oh, I can never do that, because I did have that leg up. But when I'm creating, especially when I started creating courses, it was always just, what can I talk about? What do I love to talk about? And what do I really know best? And I know there's a lot of people who will say, okay, figure out what the target audience is. What topic will they want? What topic will they pay for? But for me, it's always just been about, what do I love to talk about? And let's teach a class about that. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so I really recommend that new instructors kind of take that route of just, if it's your very first course, pick something that you love to talk about. Pick something that you read blogs about or you talk to your friends about, and have fun with it, because the entire process of creating your first course it's a big process, and you'll have to learn a lot. You're going to have to learn how Udemy works. And if you're teaching a class that you don't really like talking about and you're just focused on, will it earn money? Is there a target audience? I think you'll be disappointed when your first course doesn't turn out that good, which your first course probably isn't going to turn out that good.
Right.
So in my opinion, it's just like, teach something you love. And that's why I have not only my video editing classes, but I have a class on how to brew beer. I have a class on how baseball works, how to adopt a cat, just like random topics that don't make money, but classes that I had fun teaching. And then now, like when I am creating my new classes, I do pay more attention to where are the students buying my courses. And I see that one of my most popular courses is this big photography course that I taught recently. And so I got another friend to co-teach the class with me on how to do wedding photography. And that course did really well. So picking like a big topic like photography, and then kind of branching out into specific topics like wedding photography or photo editing, and trying to cross promote those courses. That's kind of what I do now. So I do a bit more kind of trying to figure out what course is going to sell. Obviously I'm working full time now, so I kind of have to make money from this now. So that's more important than it was before, when I had a full-time job, just doing it for fun, really.
Yeah. And so do you find your market telling you what kinds of courses they want, or kind of do you get any clues or hints from your existing students as to what they might want? That's
a great question. I actually recently, like a few months ago, I posted a question on all of my popular courses I said, here are a bunch of topics I can teach classes in. Do any of them relate, or do any of them interest you? Or are there other topics that you might be interested in? And I got a lot of feedback. So for me, it was really good to actually just ask my students, what are you interested in? What do you need help with? And I got good responses. So that's why I did the wedding photography class, and why I did a DSLR video course. So getting that feedback has been great. Another way that I get feedback is when someone subscribes to my email list on my website, I'll send a follow-up, like automatic response a day or two later that asks the person, what can I help you with? What are you looking for from my website? And that gives me a lot of ideas for blog articles to write, but also courses that I can teach.
That's awesome. So you are surveying your market, and they're telling you what they want to see. Do you happen to have any courses on how to make money with photography?
So in the photography masterclass, which is what it's called, there's a section on like how you can make money in different ways, like selling stock photography. There's a little section on wedding photography in that course, how to get a job as a photographer. But I haven't done a class where it's just like how to make money as a photographer. It's more just been a part of that big class. And then I have the wedding photography class, which is definitely geared towards, I feel like, the photographers who want to take it to the next level and make money with it. But I think that class would probably do well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the make money topics are kind of popular. Really depends on the topic. I think you've hit a nerve. Like everyone has a camera, everyone has an iPhone or an Android phone. So even a good course on cell phone photography or smartphone photography would be interesting. So how did you get started on Udemy? How did you originally find out about it? And how did you get your start?
Yeah, well, back in 2012, I was working at a college down in Orange County, actually, down in Irvine. It was a small technical school called Stanbridge College, and they had a small like nursing program and IT program, and I was on their media communications team. And one of the things they were doing was starting to put together some online courses that they could sell. And so I was just doing a bunch of research on online courses. I back then, like the MOOCs were the big thing. So platforms like Coursera and edX were so popular. And then I started hearing about like Udemy, and I knew Linda was around for a while, but Udemy was the first one where I saw the platform. And even back then I thought it was like so cool where you could like take a course, you could write notes next to the lesson. It had like the whole like outline, and it was for anybody to try teaching. And so I heard about that through that research, and I just thought maybe I could teach a course. And so I taught that first course in October 2012. It was video editing in Final Cut Pro 7, which is a program that they don't even sell anymore. So that class is kind of null kind
of obsolete
now. Yeah. But it made like $60 in the first month. And it was like the first time where I was selling something online, doing a side hustle where it like actually made money.
Right.
So it was like an amazing feeling getting that first month, and it's just grown from there.
That's awesome. You know, I see people in the Udemy studio post like, I made my first $5, you know, and I get so excited for them because I remember the first time I sold an ebook on the internet, and all I did was post this ebook on my website, and it was an ebook about how to sell on eBay. But suddenly one day I wake up, and overnight somebody had bought my ebook for $22.95. And I was like, whoa, it works.
Yeah.
You know, and to think about how when you understand internet marketing, you understand the numbers it takes to get like the number of people that have to visit your site. And then from that, the number of people that have to read your wholesale letter. And from that, the number of people, you know, it's a diminishing number, right? The number of people that actually click on the buy button. And from that, the number that might actually buy, you know, ends up being like 1 to 3% conversion rate out of 100 people, maybe 1 or 3 will buy. So understanding that, it just like the light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, if I can do this one time, I can do it a lot of times. And I think that's the light bulb that goes off with Udemy instructors when they get their first money, or they make their first enrollment and sale. It's like, whoa, this is real, and I can do it, and I just did it, you know. And it's like, it's the beginning of understanding passive income, and that exciting feeling of, you know what, I just separated myself from an hourly work, you know, trading dollars for hours. I just separated myself from that concept, and that's what I think. That's what I think is the light bulb that goes off in their head when they're so excited about making that first $5. And that's why I'm always like congratulating them, and, you know, liking their posts, because it is a great feeling. I mean that's why, like, after my first course, I just kept doing it, because like you said, you realize, okay, this can actually work. Okay, let me do another course and another course and another course. Right. And then I have started co-teaching courses with my friends who have they don't do Udemy on their own or do any sort of online business on their own. And then they realize like these courses actually make money. It's like crazy to them. And so, it's a pretty amazing thing. And I see those posts on Facebook too. And it's pretty amazing. And for me, it's just like, I travel back in time to that moment when I made $22.95 on the internet. And I wasn't working, you know, an hour to make that $22.95. I wasn't doing anything. It happened overnight, literally. And then every morning I would wake up and check my email to see
I know.
how many sales came in.
That's what I still do that. And I mean, I'm making a lot of money. It's crazy how much on Udemy right now. And I still check my emails in the morning and I see the sales that come in, and it's kind of addictive in a sense, because it gives you a little high, like, okay, more sales. Every time you check your email, it's like you see if there's sales or not. And sometimes I try to be like, okay, I can't check my emails because it doesn't really matter. It's like, just let it happen. But you get paid in the middle of the night. I get paid when I'm on a vacation or over the weekend. I mean, that's the coolest thing, is like, sometimes I think about, okay, how much money do I have to make per day to survive on Udemy?
Right.
And traditionally you would think, okay, you have to work Monday through Friday and you get paid a certain amount every day of the week. But with Udemy, you're making money on the weekends. And so it's just amazing.
It's 24/7, right?
Yeah.
24/7, you're making money.
And like you said, the amount of money you're making per hour of work is just so crazy compared to how much I make typically, because I still do a lot of freelance video editing and video work just because I want to stay in that industry. It's what I'm passionate about as well. And I want to just continue working with friends, doing cool projects. But my hourly rate for that is anywhere between, I'd say, like $30 to $50, sometimes more. But some of these classes, I'll put 40 hours into it and it'll make $10,000, and I don't know what that hourly rate is, but it's a lot more than $40 an hour, and it just and then it'll continue to grow as long as the course stays relevant. And so yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, the way I try to explain it to people is you do some work once and it just pays you over and over and over and over and over again, and it's really passive income. I mean, if you say, well, it's not fully passive income because I got to go in and answer people's questions. I mean, how many questions do you get, in a given course?
Yeah, not too many.
Yeah, if you did a good job with your course and you answered all the questions in the course, then you shouldn't get too many questions, after you publish the course. So had you ever taught before, Phil? Like taught any of these topics before?
I'd never really traditionally taught any of these courses or topics. The closest thing I could say to teaching is I did a volunteer trip to India when I was in college, and we were volunteering at a school, and I was teaching a photography class to a bunch of 7th graders in the middle of India who didn't really speak English. Wow. So I don't know how good they learned, but it was a little bit of practice for me to be in front of an audience. But like that's the other thing is like I have no teaching experience. You don't need a credential to do it. If you know your topic and you could relay it over an online course, then you're going to do well. So no real teaching experience.
So would you give people the advice that almost anyone can do this on Udemy? I mean, if you have some basic, if you have some knowledge, some experience in a particular topic or particular niche, you can probably do it too, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of people might say, well, there's a course out there already on this topic. There's someone definitely that knows a lot more than me that's teaching this. And that's true with all of my topics that I teach. I would say that every single one of my classes, there's a class that teaches the same exact topic on Udemy and on YouTube for free, most of them. But the thing is, you teach it in a different way. You have a personality, and your experience also comes through in your classes. I know, like in all of my classes, I'm telling stories about myself, telling stories about whatever I'm teaching, and the students seem to like that from me. And so as long as you know more than the student that is purchasing your course, then you're good. And that's been a problem sometimes because I teach courses where I get students who are like, this isn't advanced enough. And you have to update the course or just deal with having a student who doesn't like the course as much. But yeah, I think anybody can do it. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work, especially up front. But if you can do it, I know like you and I for a while and can get in the groove, you can be creating courses every couple weeks, every month. And it's not too hard.
Yeah, sometimes even faster. I'm about to publish my first course on Blab.
Yeah, cool.
So I actually submitted it. It's in review. I'm just waiting for the course graphic. I usually have the Udemy team create the course graphic for me because it's quicker, it's more efficient, it's pre-approved. Yeah. And as long as I give them all the details of what I want in the graphic, that way, they get it through really quick. So that's all I'm waiting for.
Nice.
And my that'll be the first course, as far as I know, on Udemy about this platform, about Blab.
Nice.
And so I wanted to do that because, number one, I'm totally excited about this platform for marketing Udemy courses. I believe anyone can market Udemy courses with Blab. But the other reason is I kind of wanted to see, hey, what happens if I'm the first to the Udemy platform with a topic? Is there some benefit to that? And there may or may not be. I mean, who knows, what the powers that be at Udemy think.
Yeah.
But but I do know that Blab is going like this, and I do know that I want to be among the people that is teaching, how to get the most out of it and how to market your Udemy courses on Blab.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I was listening to a blab of yours last week, but you were talking about how it seems that on Udemy, there are specific, like 1 or 2 courses in a niche topic that do really, really well. And if you can get to be that one topic or that one course on that topic, you're like set, because you'll be on the top of the promotions and you'll get a ton of students, a lot of ratings, and it just kind of snowballs. So hopefully, yeah, with the Blab course, it'll do well for you. That's kind of what happened with this photography course. I know like Udemy on the studio, and if you're on their emails, they'll send out topics that they're looking for, or like the hot topics of the month or this year or quarter, whatever it is. And once they emailed out saying, I think they emailed me personally because I had put out a good video design course. They said, we need a photography course, like an overall course. And so because of that, I put more work than I have in any other course. And this course is 12 hours long, but like really high quality 12 hours. Like my friend and I, we were out in San Francisco shooting on location, and it's a really high quality course, and it's paid off because that course has earned each of us over $20,000 this year. And we're splitting the profits 50-50, or the revenue split 50-50 for us. And so, yeah, it's hard because there's so many courses now, but if there's a new tool like Blab or something that you can get into Udemy first, that could be a huge thing for you. Yeah. Oh, shoot. I can't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? Oh, there you go.
How's that?
Yep.
Sorry about that. Sometimes I'll mute myself when I'm going to cough or something. So
yeah.
And then I forget.
Yeah.
So talking on that topic, yeah, that was my quote conspiracy theory, that if you're one of the first in a particular topic, or if you happen to meet a need with your topic, and you just happen to be at the right place at the right time, you get promoted, your course gets promoted, and it creates this snowball effect that, suddenly you've got 20,000, 30,000 students in this one course, and that's all you need. You're off to the races, and you're cranking along. Speaking of students, you have a lot of students, Phil. Why don't you tell us how many students you got?
Yeah, I think I posted my profile link a little bit up in the chat so anyone can see it, but right now, exactly 87,429 students.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy. And a lot of those came in free from some free classes that I have, or I'll post free coupons on social media. But a lot of them have paid too. So it's crazy. When I tell people that I'm doing this whole teaching online thing, and a lot of them, like my family members, they don't really understand what I'm doing. I think they just think I'm a bum that lives at home, and I don't know what they think I do for money. But when I tell them that I have over 80,000 people who have enrolled in my class, it stuns them, because that's nuts. That's more students than at most. I don't know if there's a college that has 80,000 students.
Well, 80,000 fills up a pretty good sized arena, right?
Yeah. So
Madison Square Garden or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that is huge. And by the way, that's when it might be a little more real to your family, right? They're like, oh, wow. Because you're actually applying some numbers to it, and they're going, whoa, this is big,
Yeah.
Because it's true, being in internet marketing myself, nobody knows what I do. I try to explain it, but their eyes glaze over, and it's just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So they're, I'm just this guy who to them looks like I'm just unemployed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably the way I dress too, pretty casual all the time.
I know. I'm pretty open with like my earnings when it comes to the Udemy audience, but when it comes to like my friends and family, unless someone asks me, which no one really has, I'm not going to be like, oh, I make this amount of money on Udemy. But I sometimes get the sense that from my friends, even, that they're like, wait, so is the teaching online thing even like make it enough money? Like, are you okay? Do you need a job? Are you looking for a job? And I tell them, no, like I'm not. I made over 5 figures last month, and it's crazy. So yeah.
And it was all automated income. It just came in.
Yeah.
Right.
With a lot of work up front, but
Right.
yeah.
That is awesome. I did see a dollar number. I didn't know if you wanted to mention a dollar number for last month,
Yeah,
what you made with your Udemy earnings.
Last month it ended at $13,780.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and it was my best month ever. So I've had a few 5-figure months. One was November last year during the Black Friday sales. And then, yeah, it's been hovering around 8,000 to 9,000 for most months.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, just to think that you've got that, and you think of your courses as an asset, right? It's an asset that continues to bring you an income. It's almost like, I mean, if you think about it in just pure investment terms, if you had, I don't know, if you had like yeah, I'm not good at math, but let's say you just had a big giant lump sum of money invested somewhere, and it was throwing off a certain amount of interest, and that interest was $8,000 to $9,000 to $10,000, $13,000 a month.
Yeah,
that's a pretty significant asset, right? It would have to be a big amount of money to throw off that kind of monthly income. So that's the asset that you created as a Udemy instructor.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, and I went from making like 30,000 a year at my full-time job down here in SoCal, and then I went up to the Bay Area and was working full-time and was making like 50,000, which was a big jump, but the salaries are a lot higher up there. But just like in 2014, my online income was about 80,000 total, so it passed that, and then this year it's even higher. So it's just like, it just made sense for me to leave my full-time job and focus on this full-time.
Yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. But I like that growth curve. You're growing right along with Udemy.
Yeah, I know. I hope it continues to grow for a few more years so I can start investing most of my money.
Yeah, and having that money work for you too.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Now, let me ask you this, Phil. With all these courses and that you've got, and you've been on Udemy since 2012, right?
Yeah.
Do you do anything to prepare for Black Friday sale in November? Because I know that's usually like a big blowout where Udemy, most instructors really have a giant month in November, and then a little bit of a follow-up in December even from this massive sale that they have. Do you do anything in advance of November?
Well, the main thing is just trying to publish all the courses that I'm working on, because I know, if you have courses on Udemy, it seems like during Black Friday, people buy them like crazy. And so I'm just working on publishing a bunch of courses this month and next month. One thing that I've noticed just in the normal months, non-Black Friday months, is that if I put up a new promo video or send out a free coupon to a bunch of people and get some sort of activity in a course, it seems like they start getting some purchases, whether it's in the Udemy promotions or organic purchases. And so what I'm going to try to do this year, like at the very beginning of November, is have my own promotion, like a really big promotion on my own, and just try to really blast out all my courses all over the place. Because I think if at the beginning of November we can start to get a lot of activity in our classes, by the time they have their sales, I think the SEO will be working for them, and it'll just kind of propel them into Black Friday sales. So I haven't really thought exactly what I want to do. I just know that I haven't done like a big promotion for all of my courses in a while. Usually, I'll use my promotional announcements on Udemy to just promote a new course that I just launched. But I think at the beginning of November, I'll probably send out a promo announcement with like discounts for like all of my courses, maybe something like that.
That's an interesting idea, especially when you know that Udemy does retargeting of ads, and they'll, like, if people land on your course landing page, Udemy will retarget those people all over the internet. So somebody might land on Phil's course on mastering photography, or is it the photography masterclass?
Yeah, photography masterclass. Yeah,
photography masterclass, and not buy it that time. But Udemy will start showing them ads for the photography masterclass on Facebook and other sites, you know, over and over until they buy. And so the more we can get people to come to our landing page, the more likely it is that that course will sell, if not right then, maybe in the future. So that would be interesting. Maybe maybe doing some paid advertising to your courses.
Just to get people on the pages.
Right. Just to get them to visit there and pick up that retargeting pixel so that when they go somewhere else, they get shown that course again.
Yeah.
And then when the big sale hits, you know, that maybe it's on their wish list, or maybe it's showing up on their feed.
Yeah. Advertisements is one area where I've always just been mystified about how to do that properly. I know that a lot of people say you need to like not send people directly to the Udemy page. You want to send them to your website where there's a sales page. I just haven't put up enough. I haven't spent enough time like creating really good sales pages for my classes on Udemy. So yeah, that's one thing. I don't know. Do you do any Google ads or Facebook ads for your courses?
You know, I've played around with Facebook ads, but and I'm very conversant in the Facebook ad world. But I also know that running Facebook ads is like it's like going into a singles bar. Not that I would know. I've been married 27 years, but but it would be akin to walking into a singles bar and talking to the first girl you meet and saying, "Hey, let's go get married right now."
Yeah.
You know, so running a Facebook ad for an online course to me feels like that. It's a little too much too soon, and most people are not going to say, "Oh yeah, let's go." You know, most people are going to say, "Well, that's interesting," and then they'll click away and they won't come back. So what I believe we need to do as Udemy instructors, and it's what I'm doing now, is create what I call a mini course, which all it is a very short, maybe 20, 30 minute, maybe even 15 minute little introductory course to your main course that you give away for free.
Yeah.
When you give this course away for free, now you can run ads to that course and have people opt in to your email list, right? They get the benefit of being introduced to your topic.
Yeah.
Like, let's say it's about, you know, photography masterclass, right?
Yeah.
You get to tell them all about how cool photography is and how cool, you know, if you really know what you're doing, you could come out with pictures like this. And so you kind of hype them up and excite them about photography in general.
Yeah.
And then you say, and by the way, I've got this great class that I created with my partner, and here's a discount coupon for it. So it's like, it's a pre-sale, basically.
Yeah.
In the process of getting them from Facebook, you want to get them on your email list. And then once you get them on your email list, get them to the free course, which pre-sells them on this. So now you've just created a couple of steps where they get to know you a little bit. They get to like you. They've seen a little bit about what you can do with the mini course. And now they're more primed to go, okay, I want this course.
Yeah. And so
that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think that's great. And so are those free courses hosted on your website or using like Fedora, or is it on Udemy too?
Yeah, I actually use Fedora for that because in that case I can skip a step. I don't have to have them go through an opt-in. I can just send them straight to a Fedora page, which is a free coupon link, right?
Yeah.
But when they log in, they usually log in with their email address and their password.
Yeah.
And now I can email them through Fedora. So that way it's a lot easier to be able to communicate with them down the road.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I'm doing here. If you'll notice, what I do is I'll post every once in a while. This is kind of like my commercial.
Oh, cool.
So if you'll notice over in the chat bar, it says get your free Udemy mini course, right?
Oh, nice.
So that's a link that goes to Fedora, and then people opt in. And what I'm doing in this process of doing these blabs is I'm giving people a lot of these free mini courses. I'm building up that list because I'm going to be creating a Udemy coaching program.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of people out there that want to get up to speed very quickly on Udemy. They'd rather not mess around and learn it on their own. They want somebody that can guide them. So this will be my way of driving people to a special offer and then maybe even a coaching program down the road. So that's an idea. And that's why I always like to learn from marketers that are doing well, because, you know, sometimes you don't necessarily buy into what they're selling, but you study their process. Right? And by studying their process, you can learn a lot.
I know there's so many webinars that I've started to attend or email lists that I've joined just to see what types of emails are you sending or what are you doing in your webinar that's working for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very smart. So what would be some of your tips, Phil, for new instructors, like somebody who's either hasn't started their course yet or they're just in the beginning of their first course? What would be some of your tips for those new instructors?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. So along with what I was talking about before is just like picking something that you're going to enjoy talking about. So pick a course topic that you just love. That's like the main thing when you're picking a course topic. And then just some basic course structure things that I've found work for me that Udemy has told me is working. When you're creating an outline for your course, you want to break down each section into a digestible topic. And so you have your intro section that kind of introduces the course, and then you jump into a few sections with the course meat, the course content. And then you have your outro or your conclusion section. The thing that I've learned about that intro section is that students don't want a lot of fluff in that intro section. They want good content in that section. And so before I was creating these classes where I would have an introductory lesson where I talked about what is this course, and it'd be like 3 or 4 minutes. Then I'd have another lesson, a separate video where it was like, who am I, the instructor? And I'd talk about myself for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I would have a lesson about how can you succeed with this course, where I talk about taking action with the practice exercises, the tools you need to complete this course, and maybe a couple other fluffy lessons in there. But what students want is you to have like one video where it's just quick, 2-3 minutes. Here's what this course is about. Here's like an overview. Here's a little bit more about myself. Like a little bit, it's basically your promo video, but a little bit more. And then in that second video, in the introduction, give them something really good. So take the entire topic of your course and give them like the 5 top tips for this topic. So for me, for like my wedding photography course, for example, that second lesson is like 5 top tips for being a wedding photographer. And so for students who are just either previewing your course for free or who buy it, if they get a lot of good content in that first or second lesson, it'll grasp them and they'll continue with the course. Rather than a lot of students who buy a course and might never watch it, you want students who are engaged. You want people who are finishing the course. Udemy tracks that, and I think they use that to promote your course more, and it boosts your SEO ranking, so people find your courses more in the search. And so you want students to be engaged. So that's the one thing, is like in the introductory section, make sure there's good content. One thing that I'm kind of on the fence, I feel like Udemy sometimes goes back and forth about what they suggest we should do with creating our courses. But one thing they told me last year was for each section, so say we have our wedding photography course, the second section might be the basics of creating a wedding photography business, where I talk about building a website, branding, all that stuff. Well, in that section itself, have an introduction video and a conclusion video. And so for the beginning of that section, do a video saying like 30 seconds, just saying, hey, this is a new section. I'm going to be covering these topics. Let's dive right in. And so I think that's one thing that students like, is like having a lot of direction throughout the course, but also not a lot of fluff. Just like get straight to the topics and make sure your lessons are 6 minutes. It really depends on the topic. Sometimes I'm teaching a class where I'm teaching a tool like After Effects, where I'm creating video effects, and it really takes 10 minutes to walk through an entire process. And so that lesson needs to be 10 minutes. But if I'm teaching a topic where I'm not really demonstrating anything, where it's just me talking about an idea, I think it's better to keep those videos to 3 or 4 minutes. Just keep it to the main topics and don't divert yourself, because students won't like that, and then they'll give you a poor review. I've gotten a lot of bad reviews about rambling too much. And so I guess those are like a few things that come to my mind off the top of my head. Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. I really like what you said about the, you know, being able to make that introductory lecture or those first few lectures really tight and really tighten them up. I mean, that's something that I've learned really in the last probably 7 or 8 courses that I've done, is to tighten that up really short, because you don't want to bore them. And I'm not saying that we're boring, because we're not boring, Phil, right? but to their perception, it might be like, oh man, how long before we get to the, you know, the stuff that I want to learn? And it's funny because I'm thinking about my 2 sons. They're 15 and 16, and I might be like surfing the channels on TV, right? And they're like, just get to something and let's watch it. You know, the span is so different from teenager to my age, you know, and it's so we need to kind of understand that we're in the YouTube age, you know, and people want to get their information like really quick. And so I think that was brilliant. In fact, you know, I want to take that snippet out and put it on YouTube, because I think that was an awesome tip. And I think that, you know, when you give them what Udemy calls a quick win, as you're saying, you know, give them those 5 tips on what's going to help you, and give them something that they can benefit from immediately. You know, they've been telling me this, you know, through their teach online and whatever, you know, give your students a quick win. But the way you described it really helped me understand, okay, so that's what a quick win is, you know. So give them something that where you give them some really good, solid information that they can action on right away. Yeah. And now you've got them, you know, locked in. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always changing, but yeah, I think some of my old classes, I would just go on and on and on talking about, and I wouldn't edit. That's another thing, is like, just spend the time to edit out not only the times where you pause too long or the ums and the ers, but also if there's content where in the moment while you're filming, you're talking, but afterwards you realize you could just cut it out, just cut it out. I think that's one thing I learned as not only an instructor, but as a video editor. Right. It's always good. Just cut out the fat, trim the fat, get to the meat. And so spend the time to edit your content a lot, I think.
That's great. Well, that brings up another question. How much of your courses are face to camera, and how much of your courses are screencast where you're recording the screen? Yeah. Would you say?
So in almost all of my classes, I try to have some sort of face camera headshot, talking head style video. And that is mostly, if it is just a primarily screencast course where I'm teaching a tool. So like when I am teaching video editing, it's mostly just me moving my mouse around the screen and talking about it. But I do try to do the introductory lessons and a conclusion with talking to the camera, because I think it does just personalize it a bit more. And at least for me as a student, I enjoy seeing the instructor's face just to see who is this that I'm listening to. Right. And so all my courses have some sort of talking head. But at the same time, one thing I used to do was I used to always have my head in the bottom right part of my screen, even when I was doing just like a video editing tutorial. And then I would just be looking at the computer like this, talking, and students would tell me like, I don't want to see your face the whole time. And so,
or the top of your head.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So there's a balance. I think it's good to have talking head videos, but if it is mostly just screen content, then just leave it on the screen. But yeah, I don't know. All my classes are a mixture of both.
That's good. Well, I've always, in the interest of getting courses published quickly, I've mostly done screen capture videos, but with the idea that at some point I want to go into a studio with a teleprompter, because I got really good at teleprompters when I was on the infomercial. Yeah. So I want to go in and really do professionally done face-to-camera clips for all those main courses. I'm not going to do it for all of my courses, but for the main, good courses that are either selling well or that are on a big topic or comprehensive courses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to go in and do little interspersed face to camera clips so that, and I guess I got to do it before I get too old, because pretty soon I'll have wrinkles all over the place. It'll be pretty nasty. So brings us to our next question. What are some of your marketing strategies for your courses, for your Udemy courses? What kind of marketing do you do to pump up sales of your courses?
Yeah. Outside of Udemy, I have my website. It's called videoschoolonline.com, and that's where I just write blog articles. I when I launch a course, I'll post an article about it. I'm building up my email list. I also, through that brand, Video School Online, I have my YouTube channel where I'll put a bunch of free tutorials out on YouTube. And those surprisingly bring in a decent amount of students, and typically at a higher price point than through Udemy itself, because with Udemy, there's a lot of discounting. But when there's a student that comes from YouTube who's really interested in the topic, I have coupon codes on the YouTube videos, either like in the YouTube video, I'll have like a link or something in the text, or in the description of the YouTube video, I'll have like a coupon code. And yeah, I have some sales for a lot of my photography classes through YouTube. So that's good. And then another thing I've done three of is I've turned 3 of my courses into ebooks, and I've posted them on Amazon. So I have a class on teaching online classes. I have my class on publishing Amazon books, and I have my class on starting a freelance career. And so for all of those books, I had a class and I turned it into an ebook. I posted on Amazon, and I'll also include a coupon at the beginning and at the end of the book. And
smart.
It's great. I mean, for my teaching online class, which for a while it was priced at $497 on Udemy, which wasn't making it made maybe 1 or 2 organic sales at that price. But now it's at $297 because they maxed the price. They limited the price point that you can charge. But I have still been making a few sales at, I think it was like $297 through that Amazon book. And so the Amazon book makes a couple bucks when someone buys it. And if they're invested enough to buy the book, they might be interested in enough to take the next step with the video course. And so, yeah, I've made a few sales through Amazon. And it's all these things, it's kind of building up different passive income streams. So with Amazon selling these books, I'm making about $100 a month. With YouTube, even the ads on YouTube on my videos, it's making about $100 a month. And it all just kind of adds together to be a really nice monthly income.
Yeah, that's great, because you're setting up, especially on YouTube and Amazon, like you're doing. I'm assuming you're using Kindle ebooks. So you're setting up these streams of traffic that turn into streams of income. You know, so, and what I like about that, and it's actually what I teach in my marketing course, is you set them up once and they keep working for you over and over again. So like your YouTube channel, what, if you don't mind, why don't you type in your YouTube channel and your website so people can visit and check you out there. And while you're doing that, let me ask the attendees, all of you that are here, go ahead and ask your questions for Phil. Just type in your questions. If you wouldn't mind, type them in as a complete question, because sometimes we might see it a little later as we're going through this, and we may not understand what the question was about because it wasn't a complete question. So if you could just make it a standalone question, that would be awesome. And then we'll have a little Q&A session, you know, when we're finished with the questions. I really only have a couple more questions here for you, Phil, and then we'll throw it to some questions. Great. So your website is videoschoolonline.com, and then your YouTube channel is youtube.com/videoschoolonline. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and you can, from the website on the very top, you can get to the YouTube page or to the Facebook page too. So, I mean, I'm bad at Facebook and Twitter, and I try to automate it as much as possible, but I do have the Facebook page where I'll post my blog articles to there, and I'll share it on my personal Facebook. And so that's, yeah, another way of marketing my courses. But I mean, speaking of marketing, the best way that I'm marketing my own courses is through Udemy itself, using the promotional announcements. And we were talking about this when we had coffee the other day, but I remember when there was a point when I was starting, hearing a story about a teacher who was making like $1,000 or more, sending out promotional announcements to their students. And I just thought that was crazy. Like, how could you send out an announcement and get a 2-day return of $1,000? And at that time, I probably had like 5,000 or 6,000 students. But over time, as I put out more and more courses, and then the amount of students went from 10,000, 20,000, now 80,000 students. When I send out a promotional announcement now, it's going to a majority of those students, or all of them who haven't opted out of notifications. And when I launch a course, I'll get a good return, usually at least $1,000 on a new course. And then when I post a coupon for like an old course, maybe a few $100s just with a email that I send out through Udemy. So
that's awesome. Now, when you do that, because I just did a promotional announcement, I have around 11,000 students, so I don't have anywhere near the number that you have, but I just did a promotional announcement a couple of days ago, and man, I got so few responses, and I don't think it was overly salesy or anything like that. I was promoting 3 or 4 courses. And so do you have any tips on promotional announcements and how you do them? You know, you've probably been doing them for a long time, so you might have some ideas on what works better than.
Well, when I'm launching a new course, there's a few things that, for those of you who have followed Udemy instructors, might sound repetitive, but for those of you who are new, I think it's important just to keep in mind, because it's kind of basic marketing tips. But when I send out if I launch a new course, I'll send out an announcement, and I've done 2 different ways. I either limit the time in which the coupon is available. So I'll say there's 48 hours to get this deal, and that seems to work pretty well. The other way that I think does even better for me is I'll launch a course, say the course, I price it at $197 or $97. And then when I launch it, I'll create 3 tiers of coupons. So I'll have 100 coupons or 50 coupons at a $29 price point, 50 more coupons at $39, 50 more at $49. And I'll say in the announcement, there are only 50 spots for the first, or there are only 50 spots at $29. Once those run out, there's 50 spots for $39. And that kind of text seems to work well for me. And then, yeah, I guess what I've done with my past 2 courses is I've timed my promotional announcements, because you only get 2 per month per course. I've timed my announcements, so I'll launch the course maybe like the last week of the month, and I'll send out a promotional announcement at the beginning of that week, and then I'll have those coupons available until like the first or second day of the following month, so that the following month I can send out another promotional announcement saying there's only 48 hours left, or there's only 24 hours left to get these deals. So for when I'm launching, I try to have like 2 announcements for like a launch sequence with my new courses.
Yeah. That's awesome, because that gives me some confirmation. I've been thinking about doing something like that, because I'm always launching new courses. And I was thinking, man, wouldn't it be more powerful if I were to mention a course in one promo announcement, and then in the next promo announcement kind of close the door, you know, like, hey, it's closing up, you better. So you're having 2 chances to create that urgency, the scarcity, and the exclusivity. So that's good. I mean, just what you told me right there, Phil, was really awesome. And I know the people listening probably got a lot out of that too.
Yeah, good. And then when you send your second announcement, make sure that you don't include students who have already enrolled in the class. Not that, just for the fact that they would get it, and they might be annoyed that you're sending them another promotional announcement. But yeah, that's been working out really well for me. Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you have any advanced tips or tricks in general, like just general?
Yeah.
Hey, we want to get the good stuff here.
Advanced tips or tricks.
And this could relate to creating courses, or it could relate to marketing.
I wish maybe I can tilt my camera up so you can see what lights. My really not fancy. Oh no, I got a big iMac, so but okay. Well, look up paper lanterns. And so paper lanterns, you've probably seen them. They're the big, they're sometimes known as China balls in film, but it's just like a paper lantern light, and you just hang like a fluorescent light bulb in it. And as a filmmaker, we use these all the time, even in professional sets, because it creates this nice soft glow. And I only have one of them on, but usually I have two on. So there's one on either side of the camera. And if you're looking for a very cheap solution for a lighting kit, do this. It's a paper lantern. You can get a pack of 10 for like $12 on Amazon, and then go to IKEA and you get the cord. It's just like a light cord with a socket, and that's like 10 or $15. So it's like $25 per light, and it creates really nice soft light. Right now I'm using my iMac camera, so it doesn't look that good. But with my webcam, my other webcam, or usually I use like a DSLR camera, a Canon 7D, that's what I use for all my classes. So you don't need to spend a lot of money to get like a fancy lighting setup to get nice video.
Wow. That is an awesome tip.
Yeah. So
that is awesome. People are loving it.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I'll have to think of some other advanced tips though. Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll be thinking about those as we answer some of these questions. I guess I have the last question before we go into the chat and have people ask their questions. Is how do you see the future of Udemy?
Oh yeah. Well, I think the future is bright, and as we've talked about, it's like the curve, or I guess it's this. I don't know which way it is. I think my camera is opposite, but the curve of growth just seems to go up and up and up. I know there's like 8 or 9 million students right now, and just a couple years ago it was 2 million or 1 million, and it just seems like it's growing so much. And as they start to do even more like development in other countries and get more audiences from other countries, it's just going to continue to grow for the foreseeable future. I'm hoping that we'll get a sense that it's plateaued or it's decreasing, but as of now, there's no sign of that. And so for people who are just getting into this, it's a great time because it's still growing. I think the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. It's like anything. It's like investing or buying a house. It's like the best time to start teaching a course was yesterday. And so for everyone, it's the best thing to do is just start teaching your course. And sure, I think I got lucky. I'm blessed and lucky that I got in 2012 because there weren't that many instructors, there weren't that many students, and I was able to kind of create this brand on Udemy. And now it just has snowballed so much. But even now, I think if people work hard and just put out courses and do a lot of work over the next year or so, they'll be really successful. And so yeah, Udemy's here to last for a while.
Yeah, I kind of picture Udemy as a big snowball that's going down the hill and gathering more and more as it goes. And it's just a matter of when you get on that snowball. Like, you better get on it now, because as it goes further down, it's going to be bigger. The base of students is going to be bigger. The number of instructors will be bigger.
Yeah.
So the sooner you get into an opportunity like this, the better for you, because we've already seen the people that came before, like Phil and some of the other instructors, top instructors. They came in at a good time where the snowball was kind of smaller, but as it grew, they're benefiting from it. And I believe that as we pop on that snowball, we'll also benefit in a similar way. Maybe not as much, maybe as much, who knows? Yeah. You know, really, here's the thing about Udemy is you can't you can't think of it as a zero-sum game, because at any moment, there's so many things that could happen for you as an instructor. You could be picked up by a blog that has all kinds of traffic, and they're like, man, get this course, it's amazing, and they're suddenly promoting your course. Or you could create a course on something fairly new, and suddenly Udemy takes it and runs with it because they need that course. It fits a slot in their particular demand curve, and it allows them to work with you on that. So there's any number of things that could happen along the way. But the other thing is, our topics are always different, right? Yeah. So the young man who developed an Apple Swift course, when the day that it was created or the day that it was released, he studied it and made his course literally over a weekend. Didn't get much sleep, but he basically learned it and taught it, learned it and taught it, learned it and taught it, and made like 66,000 in his first month. You know, so there are these opportunities that are always going to come along. But if we close our mind to the opportunities, if we think, oh, it's all done, you know, Phil's the top guy, nobody's going to beat him, or Dave's done too many courses. If we think that way, then, you know, that's just not a productive way to think. There's so much more opportunity here for the new Udemy instructor. And like I said, it's so, like you said, it's so new still. 8 million is not a lot of, it's really not a lot of students. It's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, compared to how many students who would be interested in taking online courses. I mean, and it is people from all around the world. That's one of the greatest feelings when I'm on Instagram and I got tagged in a photo from like Lebanon or something. And it was just this girl who had tagged her computer screen with me talking, and she was just saying, watching this course from Phil Ebiner, and it's just like, wow, what? Like that's better than the money that I make from the courses. It's like so cool.
Yeah, that is so exciting. How many countries do you have students in now?
Oh man, I think I have my revenue thing up. It's like 190 or something.
Wow. I mean, just think about that. Where else, in what other dimension, shall we say, could you create an online course and suddenly 190 different countries are consuming your course? Where does that happen except on the internet? Right? And the other thing is, the technology to do this didn't even exist just but a few years ago. Udemy was one of the first to take this online teaching idea and, you know, be able to make it work financially to be able to make it happen for people. So the fact that anyone could teach anything to anyone on Udemy is just a really revolutionary idea.
Yeah, you know, I mean, so it's 193 countries, and I think depending on who you ask, there's like about 193 countries in the world. So pretty,
You're worldwide, Phil. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I like how you posted the links to the paper lanterns and the light cord. That's awesome.
Right there.
Well, let's go into our Q&A. And before we get there, let's if you guys don't mind sharing this blab with your friends, just click that little bird button, the blue tell a little bird button, and then you can tweet it out and you can tell people about this blab. And by the way, even if they don't make it live, they'll be able to still see this replay you know, down the road. So like, let's say you tweet it today, you know, you tweet it right now and they don't see it till later, or they make note of it, they'll still be able to see the replay afterwards. So appreciate that. So let's go into our Q&A. Phil, let me see if I can see some of the questions.
I think someone asked, was your first course a success, or did you have to make a few before you knew it was going to work for you? So for me, at least, I think I mentioned earlier, my first course made $60 in the first month. And so to me, that was totally a success because I'd never done anything like this. And it just sparked that inspiration to continue to do it. And so from that very first time, I would consider that working. No, it wasn't full-time income until probably a year and a half or 2 years into me teaching online courses. But it definitely worked. And even though this is my full-time thing now, and I do depend on it for paying for rent, paying for food, paying for insurance, paying for everything. from the very beginning, I've always tried to think of this money as this is just extra money, especially for those of you who are working full time, like I was when I said you can reinvest to get better equipment or invest in yourself or save or have fun and buy an extra beer or go to an extra movie or do whatever. But I always thought of it as just extra money. And until I stopped working full time, that's even if I was making $5,000-$6,000 on Udemy, I always try to think, okay, this is just extra money that I can't count on next month. And I'm still, even working full time on this now, I still try to think, okay, next month I'm not going to make $13,000. That's probably not going to happen. So it's always like starting from square one at the start of the month. And I think that's important for new instructors to remember, that just don't count on it being a certain amount every month, because it does go up and down. In general, for me, it has gone up, but it does go up and down.
Yeah. Well, and you get to a point like where you are, Phil, where you're in the $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $13,000 range, where even if it does go up and down, you're still covering your expenses and you're still doing pretty well. I mean, for a young guy, you just got married, I'm sure that you guys are doing nicely, so.
Yeah, we're really lucky.
Yeah. Here's another question. This gentleman said, I don't think I have a face for camera.
Well, I would challenge you to try being on camera, because if people are going to judge you, they're going to judge you. And people have said the meanest things to me on Udemy. And I don't know if I have a face for camera or not, but people have said, I wore a hat once on one of my courses and they said I looked like a duck. People have reviewed my courses saying, wow, I can't stand your accent. And I didn't even know I had an accent, but I know that I probably do have like a California accent or something.
Dude.
Yeah. So you're going to get haters. If you get big, if you get students there, you are going to get people who don't like your face or don't like your voice. But that, to me, it makes me feel like, okay, well, I'm doing something right, because there's a lot more people who don't say anything, and there's people who probably enjoy my face or my voice or at least my classes. Right. And that's all that matters. It's hard to even now when I'm getting a bunch of good reviews, when I get a bad review, it bums me out. It's like, what did I do to deserve this? And what can I do to fix it? But yeah, I forget even what the question was. Oh, the face. Oh, okay. Yeah. Your face. So, I would challenge you to try it, but there's a lot of successful classes where you don't have to show your face, or you can, even if you have at least one good headshot or can take at least one good picture, use that at the start of your class just to show off your face, show the students who you are, and then just keep it screencasts and slideshows and voiceover.
Yeah, and coming from the infomercial world, I can tell you makeup does wonders. I hate to admit it, but yeah, I had to wear makeup for my infomercial and for the book cover, the photography, and all that stuff. It was an interesting introduction to what women go through all the time.
Yeah.
But the other point, I think, is that most of my courses are screencasts.
Yeah.
So all I do is show one picture at the beginning, and then I just show everything that's happening on my screen, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation, or I go in and show a particular website and how to use it, or Photoshop or whatever. So in those cases, you don't really need to show your face. And so, you can be successful without that if it's really an issue to you.
Yeah.
But I like your encouraging statements, just as well, Phil. So Chef Tony asked, how quickly are you making these courses?
So for me, when I was working full time, at the beginning, I was trying to put out a course every month or so, but I say that because I didn't have a social life. I would go home and work on my courses, and I really wouldn't do much. I mean, literally, when I started creating courses, I was making $30,000 in Southern California, which basically covers rent for a small, tiny apartment. Yeah. I wasn't saving any money. And I didn't have enough money to pay for internet at my house. And so I would go home, create courses that didn't require using internet. I would just do screencasts and video, and then I would go to work early and upload my course at work. And so I was spending a lot of time when I was starting out. And so I taught like 15 courses or so in the first year. And then it kind of slowed. And so I was creating, like at the beginning of 2015, I put out one course in February. And then until I started working full time or left my full-time job and doing this full time, I hadn't really put out any courses. But now I've been putting out about 1 or 2 per month since then. So that seems to be what my timeline is.
Yeah. And by the way, that will vary. It just depends on, I mean, sometimes you can create a quick 1-hour course, you know, pretty quickly. Other times you might do a 3 or 4 hour course. It might take more time. And I found also, Phil, that if you're, one of the points that you made and one of the pieces of advice you gave towards the beginning was, you know, do your first course on something you love and something you love talking about. I've found that, you know, because I had a list of courses that I wanted to do, sometimes I'll do a course on a topic that I'm knowledgeable about, but I'm not real passionate about.
Yeah.
And I find that it's harder to get myself into speaking mode, into teaching mode in those. It's harder to motivate myself when it's a course on, like, I just want to check off the box. Okay, there's a course on that.
Yeah.
So there is a lot to be said, especially for your very first course,
yeah,
to do something you're passionate about, you're excited about, because that'll come across not only in your teaching, but also in your motivation to complete the course and get it done.
Yeah.
So I know we're kind of reiterating, but I wanted to mention that because I thought that was an awesome point.
Totally.
So let's see. How do you connect with your students through these mediums? Is attrition an issue that teachers are concerned with? That's from Derek.
So throughout, I mean, Udemy, for those of you who don't know, they have a lot of strict rules about basically trying to get you to not take their students away from the platform. And so there's a lot of things you can't do. You can't send out a promotional announcement or a message to your students saying, hey, check out my website, subscribe to my list. You can send out educational announcement that has educational content that's on your website, I believe. I think that's still good.
Yes, you can.
But you can't say, hey, subscribe to my email list. But throughout my courses, especially from the beginning, I would always sort of end the course or throughout the course say, if you have any more questions, email me at my email address or visit my website. On Udemy itself, you can put your website, your YouTube, your Facebook, your Twitter, I think on your profile page so people can find you that way. So there's a lot of different ways where I'm connecting with students, and that's important to get students to be interacting with you and talking with you. Yeah,
excellent. All right, let's see. We've got another one. Can the intro video to pass Udemy guidelines, can that be a screencast or a presentation? And he says, I'm not shy by any means, but my email course is mostly presentation style, as I believe yours are. He was asking that one to me, but we'll both weigh in on it. Yeah, absolutely. The intro video can be just strictly a screencast, PowerPoint. In fact, some of my promotional videos are where I do a little bit of face to camera, but then I go right into a PowerPoint that's strictly black text on white screen. You know, nothing fancy, but it's done in the style of what they call video sales letters. And video sales letters have been very successful in marketing information products. And there's something about that just plain black text, really big black text on a white screen, that's almost hypnotic and almost kind of gets people, because they're reading, hearing, and sometimes feeling what you're saying if you're good at enunciating and speaking, you know, persuasively. So those types of videos are really compelling. They may not be fancy and pretty like a lot of people's promotional videos, but they sell. So you know, it's all in what you want to do. But absolutely, Chef Tony, you can just do a PowerPoint. Like I said, that's what I do. Phil, what are your intro videos like, or your promo videos?
I just posted a link in the chat It says use this guide. Udemy came out with this
Oh, great.
recently, but it's just a recipe that I've been using for all of my promo videos lately. And you can check it out yourself, but it basically goes every what you have to do for in the first 10 seconds, you have to say this. In the next 10 seconds, you say this. And it seems to work for my courses. And for anybody that has put up courses that are old, the promo videos, I think, really important. And I've updated my promo videos, and every time I update my promo videos, I feel like I see a little spike in the course sales. And so, yeah, no, you don't need to be a talking head on camera. It could just be text, but use that guide. I think that would be really good. It just spells it out for everyone.
That's good. And that's one of the things that I feel like I messed up on my courses, Phil, is I didn't create promo videos for my courses because I was in kind of this production mode, just like cranking a course after course after course. I figured I'd come back and do my promo videos, and that's what I've done.
Yeah.
But I always feel like I'm learning this video stuff myself for the first time. I've got this nice Logitech C920 webcam, and that's about as good as I get right now.
Yeah.
Most of my videos are all screencast. So I almost feel like I'm kind of like the low budget instructor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or seat of the pants. Like, let's just get it done and move forward, and then I'll improve the promo videos and the instructional or the intro videos later. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but
yeah, totally. And just off of your webcam, the Logitech C920, that's what I have too when I just use my webcam. And then for my microphone, I use Blue Snowball, and that's $50. The webcam's $70 on Amazon. Right. So it's very low cost to get into this with it's like the quality you'll get with those two tools is like here, and it's like a little bit, it's like really good compared to what you'll get with like a crappy microphone and crappy camera. But you'll have to pay a lot more, like thousands and thousands of dollars more to increase the quality, like a lot higher.
Interesting.
So like just those two tools are great for new instructors.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, seriously, like the Blue Yeti, I have the Blue Yeti or the Snowball and a Logitech. Seriously, for under $200, you are able to teach online. Yeah, I mean, that's unheard of. You know, that's ridiculous. I mean, as long as I've been in the internet marketing business, that just blows my mind that for under $200, you could be teaching to 190 countries in the world. Yeah. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Mayanna said she's right behind me on creating a course on Blab too. She said you won't be alone, and I told her, sweet, just take your time.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, slow down. I want to be the first one.
Yeah.
Let's see. This gentleman said, if I have a speech impediment, do you think I could do this?
Yeah, I think I saw, I don't know if someone wrote, just speak slowly. I know there actually was someone that had a speech impediment who did really, really well on Udemy. What was his name? I forget his name, but he had a huge website, and I'm sounding ignorant because I don't know what the issue was, but it was some sort of disease or something where he actually paid for surgery with the money he got online to fix his speech impediment. But he had created like 20, 30 courses, and it was hard for me to listen to his courses because it was just, it wasn't like fluid the way he spoke, but a lot of his students really loved his classes. And so
interesting.
I think for some students, it's obviously going to be hard for them to listen through a course, but if you can teach it pedagogically in a good way, then it will be fine.
You know, it makes me think of potentially, if it is a situation that you can't overcome in terms of, you know, having students listen and engage, if it's a serious enough speech impediment, maybe you co-instruct with someone where you provide the content and they provide the voice. And what this brings up is through a certain turn of events, I was put in touch with a venture capitalist in San Francisco who wanted to create a course Udemy course about startups and venture capital and startup funding. And he said, "Hey, I want you to create it according to Udemy standards." He liked my voice, and he had the PowerPoint all done. I had to go in and completely kind of redo the PowerPoint according to Udemy standards. But basically, I redid the PowerPoint and I presented it for him. He paid me a decent fee for basically producing the course for him. So there may be a situation where if you have an impediment like that, you might partner with somebody who can actually present your material and either have them be a co-instructor so that they receive a percentage of the sales, or pay them an upfront fee. In the case of the venture capitalist, he had plenty of money to pay me an upfront fee that made sense for me and for him. And now he's got an asset that continues to make him income, so there's all kinds of ways. We just have to sometimes get creative with those ideas. So, all right, let's see. Azrael 13 asks, what kind of programs do you teach? If you could just give us the 2 or 3 categories that you're in.
Yeah, just mostly video creation, so video editing, motion graphics, video production, and then photography, design, and then since I kind of became an expert with this whole teaching on Udemy thing, I have a class on teaching online courses and another class on freelancing. So all over the place.
And by the way, that's a great point. The photography and the videography courses they're in a very popular topic, right? So your net, the net that you're casting is so much bigger than other topics. So what you want to do is you want to focus in on what is the biggest net, or the most mass appeal topic that I can come up with. Because that way more of those people are looking for your content. Sometimes I'll see people post in the Udemy studio and they'll say, "Hey, should I do this course on, some niche topic, and I want to do it in a niche language?" So now you're taking the whole world of courses that are potential, right? And you're narrowing it down to this little topic, and then in that topic, you're narrowing it down to a little little spoken language. You're just limiting, your market. So think like a marketer, as you're coming up with these topics.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone watches Shark Tank, but I'm totally into it. And I know Mr. Wonderful always talks about if your market is like not big enough, like half of the country, then he's not interested in investing. So it's the same thing. And that's just smart. That's just smart business. Another question was, are these just info products, or are they how-to products? I guess how-to products. I don't know what the difference is really myself. So
yeah, I would say most Udemy courses are how-to or tutorial based. So that's pretty much what we create. Let's see. Let's look for another question here.
I know what Tina asked, how do you deal with Udemy's constant sales and discounts? And I think this is a question that new instructors always ask. And for those of you who don't know, you have the option to be a part of all their sales and discounts or not be a part of their sales and discounts. And the thing is, if you're a part of it, then you allow Udemy to discount your course to like a $10 sale or a $15 sale, really whatever they want. And so a lot of instructors don't like that idea because they'll have a course that they want to sell for $97 or $99. And when Udemy sells it for $10, it decreases the perceived value of their product. But what I've always found is that it's just been better for me to take part in these promotions and their announcements or their sales, because I've always felt that I'm getting sales, I'm getting new students that I never would have ever got if I wasn't a part of those promos.
Right.
And so I would say over half of my sales are because of Udemy promos and everything. And like I said, like last month, 13,000, over 6, 7, 8,000 of that was straight from Udemy $10 sales. And so it grows if you have a lot of courses and a lot of students.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a volume game, and you're making sale after sale after sale. And after a while, those $10 sales add up, after a short while in Phil's case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Barb had a question. Phil just found you on Twitter and followed you. Surprised at low follower count on Twitter. Noticed you joined in 2008. And by the way, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I don't even remember when I joined Twitter. And before I started on Blab, I had 2 followers.
Yeah. Honestly,
I never saw any value in Twitter.
Yeah, I am bad at Facebook and Twitter and social media in general because, I mean, Dave and I spoke about this when we had coffee. It's just, it takes so much time and energy to do it right. And the return on spending all that time is so low when it comes to selling a product. At least that's what it seems like to me. And so with Twitter, I would love to put more effort into it and get thousands of followers. I know that there are tweeters who have 30, 100 million followers who do make a lot of money through Twitter. But for me, it's always been automation. So all of my blog posts, all my YouTube videos, it's just automatically posted to my Twitter feed. But it'd be good if I did it. I know that there is probably some benefit, but I'd rather spend the time just creating courses.
Yeah. I echo that as well. Like I said, I had 2 Twitter followers when I started. Now I'm getting more active because of Blab, and I really see Blab as a huge marketing opportunity, especially as you build a following. So I think both Phil and I are probably in agreement on that we will start building it, but really for a stated purpose. I know with when I looked at Twitter, same as when I looked at Periscope, which is the other live streaming app. I looked at it and it's like, okay, how can I use this to market my business? And the answers were slim to none. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are these Twitter experts out there that, they've got some good strategies and stuff, but it takes so much to build up your following before you can actually, make it pay off for you. Yeah. So let's see. I think, let's see. Okay, Tina asked, Dave Espino, what platform are you using to host your free course that you're posting? That platform is Fedora, and it's at usefedora.com. I'll post that course one more time for those that just kind of came in. But Fedora allows you to really post anything, and as long of a file as you want, and as short of a file as you want. You can post PDFs, videos, audios. I could post this interview on Fedora, for example, and there's no limitations like on Udemy where your videos have to be between 2 minutes and 20 minutes long. You have to have a certain quality of your video. The videos could be anything, really. So the reason I use Fedora is for those reasons. It just gives me more flexibility, but also it gives me more control over my student base and my ability to talk to them in the future. So that's and by the way, I happen to have a Udemy course about Fedora.
Nice.
I know that's funny. It's kind of like cannibalizing, but
yeah,
it's all about, and I believe it's the only course on the Fedora platform or about the Fedora platform.
Yeah, at least they let you post that.
Yeah, I had to make sure and ask. I asked ahead of time.
Yeah.
And because the course teaches how to publish private label rights products on Fedora, they didn't like me using private label rights or PLR in the title of the course. But I was able to use it in the content of the course. But yeah, I did get some clearance from them ahead of time because I didn't want to, try and publish it and then not come through with it. So any other questions here?
Blogade asks, what about piracy? Lots of new instructors scream about it on the studio group. So 2 things about that comment. So about the piracy, yeah, that is a problem. I know that Udemy is they're always working on ways to make it harder to pirate their videos. But the fact is that people are going to pirate your courses. It's happened to all of my courses. I know it's happened to a lot of my courses. And the only thing I can say is that the people who are going to download pirated classes, we're never going to pay for your course anyways. There might be a few people who somehow stumble upon your pirated course who maybe at some point would have found it on Udemy and paid for it, but it's like downloading illegal movies or television shows. The people who are doing that aren't going to pay for Netflix or Hulu. They're just going to do it. And so I've always just figured it's going to happen, and there's not really much you can do as an individual instructor other than just at the very least post like on your videos, include like a little bug at the bottom of your video that has your website or at least your logo or something, so that if someone is watching it while it's pirated, maybe they'll end up on your website.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel the same way. I feel like there's two different worlds, the world that's going to play by the rules and the world that isn't. And they very seldom meet.
Yeah.
They're different worlds. And it's unfortunate, but there's not much you can do. Somebody earlier posted, haters going to hate. I'm going to say pirater's going to pirate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Not much you can do about it. There's another question here. Let's see. Do you get paid instantly or do you need to wait for Udemy income?
Yeah, so you have to wait. You get paid. So say I'm selling courses in September now. I'll get paid for those courses at the start of November. And the reason is because there's a 30-day money-back guarantee in case students don't like the course, they want their money back. And so they have to let all of those students get through that 30 days through the end of October before you can get paid. But that kind of hurts the very first time you make sales. But once you're selling courses month after month, it kind of just flows, and every month you're getting paid. But yeah, it's not instantly.
Yeah. And another question is, since it's all but impossible to have a private or limited blab, how can you use blab to create a how-to tutorial? A how-to or tutorial.
Maybe you should answer that one because you're the blab.
Yeah.
Blabber.
I'm the blabber. Man, at my age, I'm getting blubber too. I don't know if I like that. Okay, well, I wouldn't use blab to create a how-to because it probably doesn't meet Udemy's quality standards. Because it is a live streamed event, the video is probably not quite up to the quality that Udemy wants. However, what you can do is do like a video like this, like an interview with Phil. And with Phil's permission, I can take the video and I can chop it up into 20-minute segments, because that's what Udemy allows, and add it to one of my courses as bonus material, because now I'm adding value to the course. I'm giving my students an awesome, interview. And so it can be used as bonus content, but I would not use Blab to record your Udemy courses. I would use a tool. One tool that I use is called Screencast-O-Matic. I just typed it in. Just want to make sure I typed it in right. Screencast-O-Matic.com. And that allows you to record your screen and just narrate as you record your screen. So anything you're doing on your computer, whether you're visiting a website and showing somebody how to do something on a website, whether you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, no matter what you're doing, using a software, you can record your computer screen and speak into the microphone as you do it. And the Screencast-O-Matic, I mean, it puts out quality video. It's $15 a year, which is ridiculously inexpensive for the pro version. You want the pro version. You don't want the free version, because the pro version removes their watermark. The free version has the watermark.
Yeah. And
it's easy to use. And that's the main reason I like Screencast-O-Matic. I've tried all these other screencast softwares, Camtasia,
ScreenFlow.
I haven't tried ScreenFlow, but I've tried a bunch of these, and they usually either have like technical things you got to know, or they're a little too complicated. And I like Screencast-O-Matic. It's super simple to use. So back to that question.
So there was a follow-up question about putting our website address in the lower third of our videos. And to be honest, I don't know if the rules have changed. So I don't want to say yes or no. I'm going to have to figure that out. Part of me, now that I said that, is guessing that maybe Udemy doesn't want you to do that. But I did that for a lot of my original courses. And it's something that, so Udemy sometimes goes back and forth about these things. Before they actually said to do that, when people started getting mad about piracy, they told us instructors, well, put your website or your brand on your video so that at least people can see that. Now, I don't know what the rule is. So before you do that, actually, I would just make sure with the Udemy team.
Yeah, I would double check because you want to get the latest information.
Yeah.
Just to be safe. Another question from Peter Hatherley: can you use Udemy for certification?
Okay, yeah. So there's not really a certification method yet. I see that you Googled it, but for other people who are wondering, you get a Udemy certificate if you finish a class, but really it's just sort of a nice PDF with your name on it. I would love if they did some sort of certification so that either from one class or for a series of classes, you can give out certification, but not yet.
Yeah. And by the way, that Peter, that certificate of completion can be posted to your LinkedIn profile. So if it's a work-related or business-related course, you might want to publish those certificates of completion to your LinkedIn profile, or even add them to a resume. If you're in the employee world. So there is that benefit, but there is no certification per se, and probably not going to be.
Yeah.
You think, Phil?
Yeah, I don't. It would be too hard for them to segment their instructors to say that this. Well, first, the instructor has to be certified in some way to be teaching a certified class, and so there's other platforms that do that already that are more specific to a topic, or but I don't see Udemy doing that. Maybe I would say the only other thing is if you became big enough where your brand was the leader in your niche topic. Say for me, if Video School Online became the go-to online school for video creation, and then if someone took all of my classes on Udemy, and at the end of those classes I gave them my own stamp of approval certification, and they took that to an employer and said, oh, well, Video School Online gave this to me, then maybe that would work. But I don't think there's going to be like an official way that Udemy is going to do that. Yeah,
that makes sense. Let's see. What is the best price for a course for a newbie?
I've tried all sorts of different prices. I've tried to inflate my prices because a lot of online educators and online marketers outside of Udemy will say that you want to price your product high. You want to have $500, $1,000 products. But the fact is that people aren't going to buy it at that level on Udemy, and you can't even price your course above $300. Mm-hmm. But I still prices, maybe it helps just to give it an example. All of my courses are mostly around the $99 price range. I've tried 97 now, or I tried 99. Now I'm at 97. I don't know. I've heard different views about the 7 and the 9. I have a couple more premium classes that are at the $297 price, and then some at a $47 price. And the fact is that you're not making a lot of sales organically on Udemy. So most sales are either from Udemy's promotions and discounts or my own discounts. But I can say that the price that I discount my courses to is usually $29. That seems to be the lowest that I want to go. And I get a lot of sales from the $29 discount.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
The lowest, or not the lowest, but the price that I typically do my promotions at is about $19. Mm-hmm. Only because I read that somewhere in the Udemy studio, people were having good success with 19. But yeah, I'm gonna test that price as well.
Yeah, 19 I did 19 for a long time, and I should probably try one more at 19 just to see if in one of my new launches, if I make more money from a $19 promo. Maybe I'll try that with my new course next week.
Yeah, so while you're trying 19, I'll be trying 29.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll have coffee.
Yeah.
Another question is, if I have a narrow market focus, then why Udemy versus roll our own?
Okay, so I'm roll our own. Is that, I'm guessing, just go do your own thing, or is that actually a thing? Roll our own.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's
Roll
do
on
your
your
own
own.
course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my only thing is you can put your course on Udemy and on your own site, and there, like we said, there's 9 million people on Udemy, and so there are probably people interested in your topic, even if it's very narrow. And it's kind of, my opinion is, might as well put it up there and make sales, and then put it on your own site. Use Fedora to host your own class and market it on your own, and you can have more control of the price and the marketing that way, and the student. So I think just do both.
Yeah, that's that would be my recommendation too, because I publish my courses on Udemy, and then I also Fedora has this great import from Udemy feature. In fact, I just did that today with my blab course, even though the blab course hasn't been. We're just waiting on the course graphic before it's live on the site. Even so, I was able to import the course over to Fedora. So now I can market it on Fedora, and again, without all the restrictions that Udemy has. So the two main differences between the two, Udemy brings you tons and tons of students. It's a marketplace. Fedora is not. So with Fedora, you have to market your own courses yourself. With Udemy, you just have these students coming to you. With Udemy, because they are investing literally millions of dollars into bringing students to you and to their site, of course, they have certain guidelines and restrictions, right? Whereas with Fedora, because it's not a platform and it's not a central place where people can find courses, it's just you having your own online school. That's where you have to be responsible for your own marketing, but there's much less in terms of guidelines and rules. So neither one is better. They're just different.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would say Udemy is better because they're bringing you tons of clients, right?
Yeah.
Or tons of students. So Udemy is better in that sense. Let's see. I think we're going to be finishing up here, just so you all know. Let's see.
Someone asked again about the Facebook ads to promote your Udemy course. We kind of talked about it before, but you can use Facebook ads to promote your classes, but I think most people would say, since you can't capture that person's email address if you pay for an ad that sends them directly to the course on Udemy, we would suggest sending them to your website where they either sign up for a free course like Dave mentioned that you host on Fedora, or they have to sign up for an email list, or just something where they come to your site instead of going directly to the Udemy page. So create a landing page on your own site that might promote the Udemy course, but somehow try to capture that student lead or that person's lead rather than just giving it directly to Udemy.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I have seen a couple people, like maybe 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 100. It's just my theory statistics.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 out of 100 people on the Udemy Studio that have said, hey, I ran Facebook ads to my course and actually made a profit. And in that case, because see, it makes sense that it's doable because Facebook allows you to really target and really hone in on your target audience, right?
Yeah.
So if you happen to have a very niche specific course and you happen to be able to target that audience on Facebook, there's a good possibility you can run ads to that audience and make sales and make it work for you.
Yeah.
But only in that circumstance where you can really fine tune that audience and you just happen to have the perfect match for that audience.
Yeah.
All right.
And then just I want to mention,
awesome.
I'm feeling pretty generous. I posted a link with a coupon code for free access to my online teaching course.
Sweet.
Usually it's $300, and usually I don't give it away for free, but it is a little bit dated. I need to update it because I created it at the end of 2013, but it's got a ton of great content. I basically walk through everything that I did to get started, my entire process of creating the course, publishing it, marketing it. So yeah, there's 25 coupons.
And by the way, some of you, by the way, I'm signing up
work.
for this.
Someone's saying
No,
it doesn't work.
here's what you need to know. I found this out on the last blab. You need to go to that URL, and then once you're on that in a separate tab, remove this part from the end of the URL. Because Blab seems to add this
maybe just copy
additional reference.
Yeah, or maybe you can just copy and paste the link or something.
Yeah, that would be the thing to do. Just copy and paste it as it is in that link that he gave you, or remove that final reference. Anything from the question mark forward, that will make that link work. The only other way to do it would be maybe if you did a short link.
Yeah, maybe I can do a bit.ly really quick or something.
Just to make it work really quick. Mayanna said that worked, so that's good. Robert Thomas, he says, yep, that worked. So that's good.
Okay, maybe that one would work.
What I tend to do sometimes is I'll use, have you heard of Pretty Link?
Yeah, I have that on my website. Yeah.
So that works out really good too. In fact, that's what I use on that mini course that I've been giving away here. So, wow, that's generous of you. I've been wanting to take your course. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sign right up. Oh, and the coolest thing now about that course is that I try to post my monthly income reports. And so you can see exactly where I'm making my money. Over the past few months, I've been so busy that I haven't really been able to write much about it. But on older ones, I detailed, like, I wrote about how this month was going, where it came from, what did I do, what am I doing. So those are cool. Those are a little bit
that is awesome.
Later. They're at the bottom of the course outline. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out because I'm a student of this business. You know, I want to be a top instructor, and I think in order to be, you got to study the top instructors first and learn from them, and then you could be one of those guys. So
yeah, totally.
All right. Well, we're at the end of our blab. How did you like it, Phil?
Yeah, this was fun. I would totally do it. It's so cool that there's like, yeah, you can see all the questions and everyone. It's awesome that you guys were like engaged, and compared to any other webinar that I've been on, it's just so much easier. I mean, I've done the Google Hangouts before, but seems like it's so much harder. I think in the Google Hangouts, you can't even see like the feed. Or maybe you can or not. It just seems like it works. So this is fun.
Yeah, it works. It's simple. It's simple for everybody to use. Yeah. And, we didn't open up the other two seats, but when we open up to other two seats, it's really cool because it's like this collaborative conversation that you're all building at the same time. But I wanted to keep this an interview because I think that interview formats are going to be really good and really popular. Learning from someone like you who's already achieved some great success on Udemy.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for joining us, Phil. It's been awesome. And I want to thank you all for sitting in on the blab. Of course, if you subscribe to it, you're going to get an email with the replay. And this particular URL that's here will be the replay link anyway. So thank you all for joining me. You got any final parting words?
No, just everyone have fun with it. If you're considering doing a course, do it. Just spend a weekend, learn how to do it, and do it. It's amazing. I think anybody can truly do it. And if you have any other questions, reach out to me on Twitter now. You can follow me, I guess, or go to videoschoolonline.com. But thanks, Dave.
Awesome.